Egypt, with a water supply each year of less than 750 cubic metres per person, already exists in a state technically described as water poverty. And with global warming and a possible rise in sea levels, the situation looks set to get worse. Dr. El Kourouzi is one of the country's leading experts on water management.
The supply is fixed and demand is rocketing, actually. The Egyptian population only 200 years back was only 2.5 million, and now we are hitting 100 million. And obviously this brings down steeply the per capita share.
That population is increasing at more than 8% a year. To feed them, it's been estimated the country will need to cultivate an extra 2.5 million more acres of farmland by the end of the next decade alone, all of which will need to be irrigated. The government has started, with so far limited success, trying to get farmers to manage their water supplies better, using closed rather than open drainage pipes and drip rather than flood irrigation. Another solution is to encourage farmers to grow less water-intensive crops.
You produce 1 kilogram of wheat per 1 cubic meter of water, but you might produce 5 kilograms of citrus, and you might produce 10 kilograms of vegetables for the same cubic meter of water.
Another problem is that many of the country's farms are inefficient smallholdings, sometimes as little as half or quarter of an acre. The government has set up a scheme covering an initial 500,000 acres to persuade farmers to collaborate and better manage their water supplies.
Part of it is working with the farmers and initiating farmers' associations on the field level, and those associations are elected among the users, and they are taking responsibility of maintenance, of management, using less water.
Saving on agriculture is just the start, though. The country also needs to better handle water wastage from its growing urban population.
The amount of water used is about 5–6%, but the losses are up to 50%.
All told, according to Dr. Abu Zayed, the country's former Minister of Irrigation, the government's plans could drastically improve efficiency.
The potential savings on the program of water management, which we started, gives about between 20 to 30%.
Analysts argue that the introduction of water-saving devices could make a significant difference. One study in Alexandria has shown how much can be saved.
We're looking at maybe at least 20% in the current demand. This could be achievable at the current assessments that we're working on.
Yet despite all its conservation efforts, the country will still need to find more water. One route is desalination, which has already begun to play a role.
If you look at the tourism sector in Egypt, South Sinai, the Red Sea resorts, all these are actually using desalination for their main water supply.
10 more desalination plants are up for tender, and the hope is that desalinated water will eventually provide for 10% of the country's needs. Yet another problem Egypt needs to address, though, is the demands from other upstream countries in the Nile basin for a greater share of the river's water, all of whom reject treaties put in place by the British, which gave Egypt and Sudan full rights over all the Nile's water.
Egypt had used rather bellicose language when the upstream countries started the discussions about having a new treaty. Bellicose language won't get it anywhere anymore, because these countries are both stronger, they're more efficient, and with the world media looking at the region, there isn't any alternative except a negotiated treaty.
However, many of the country's water experts are optimistic that a new deal can be reached, and that much more of the Nile's water can be utilised.
We've been negotiating a new treaty for the past 10 years. And what is encouraging is that the amount of water falls on the basin, Nile basin, is annually 1,600 billion cubic meters a year. And the amount of water used right now is 5% of that.
There's a lot of water that's being lost in swamps, in many areas within the Nile River Basin, and this water could be developed for the benefit of all the countries sharing the Nile River Basin.
There's no doubt that Egypt must manage its water resources better in the coming years, but there's also no doubt that it's taking steps to bring this about. The reality is, though, it has no choice. The country's survival depends on it.